You may have heard of BRICS before. It's an international organization consisting of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, hence BRICS. The term was originally used to refer to large developing countries, but has since 2009 become institutionalized. The countries making up BRICS want to put an end to US hegemony, reign in a multipolar world, and end the dominance of the dollar. And at first glance, BRICS is well prepared for this task. After all, its members cover a quarter of the Earth's landmass and over 40% of its population. But, fortunately for the US, BRICS is a fucking joke. No, really. The fabled alliance against the West that is supposed to put an end to US hegemony is little more than a fairy tale. This is the point where you say, come on, BRICS is gonna destroy the dollar and it's getting new members, how can you say it's a joke? And to this I respond, BRICS has been trying to dethrone the dollar since the Yekaterinburg summit in 2009. So far, this has been its influence. Do you see a difference between 2009 and today? No you don't. So yeah, BRICS is a failure. Okay, but why? Perhaps they weren't trying all that hard before? After all, isn't Saudi Arabia considering switching to the yuan for oil payments? I mean, yes, but also no. The thing is, the yuan is not a very safe currency to hold. This is because China has capital controls, which means that you can't freely move money in or outside of China. So you're basically taking on additional currency risk by holding the yuan. And here you say, well, what about the other BRICS currencies? And here I show you that the ruble is a joke, the rupee is a joke, and whatever South Africa and Brazil use are also jokes. Okay, but what about their economies? What about their militaries? Couldn't BRICS take down NATO, let alone the United States in a bar fight? No. No, because the BRICS economies add up to just half of NATO, and no, because the BRICS countries don't like each other. India and China have an ongoing border dispute that leads to the most hilarious border clashes. They do also occasionally fight with guns and kill each other, but that's another matter. Okay, but what about all the new countries joining BRICS? Aren't they going to play a key role in shaping it? Even NATO countries disagree sometimes, but it still works, right? Well, here's the difference. NATO is a type of alliance that even its enemies have historically wanted to join. Here's looking at you, Russia. Whereas BRICS is a type of alliance where an up-and-coming member elects a populist libertarian and he says, fuck no, and refuses to elaborate. In other words, people don't really seem to want to join BRICS. And even the ones that haven't backed down yet include countries like Iran and Saudi Arabia. In other words, states that have despised one another since 1979 and routinely severed their diplomatic relations. This just isn't happening. And look, here's the thing about alliances that BRICS fans need to come to understand. The countries in the alliance need to have common interests. The countries in NATO are broadly Western liberal democracies that originally wanted to secure Europe from Soviet influence. Then the alliance had a crisis of faith starting from the 90s because the USSR was no longer a threat. This continued until Russia decided to go full idiot and attack Ukraine, basically reminding everyone why NATO is needed. This is why NATO works. The countries within it share both an ideology in the form of liberal democracy and have common security interests. On the other hand, you have alliances that make no sense, such as the CSTO, basically the successor to the Warsaw Pact. The problem with the CSTO is that it consists of Russia telling post-Soviet states that it'll defend them, even though the biggest threat to said states is Russia itself. This then leads to hilarity such as two CSTO members, Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan, getting into a conflict with each other. BRICS is in the latter boat. Its members hate each other, and the only thing unifying them is that they're not Western-style liberal democracies. And though that may lead them to agree on disliking the United States, it does not lead them to an alternative, since India will always dislike China more than the US for the sole reason that they don't have a border conflict with the US. So, there you go. The mere thought that BRICS could take down the US is absurd.